Kamala Harris could lose Virginia. Glen Youngkin goes to war with Jake Tappert, and Kamala Harris appears publicly drunk. I'm John Mike Keene. Watch this.
He's talking about the enemy within our country, Pennsylvania. He's talking about...
And you ain't black.
That he considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country.
They call everyone who disagrees with them misinformation. And they're saying that you ought to be prosecuted for that and sent to jail for misinformation. And then now they're upset that Trump has said that if you disagree with him, they're trying to make it sound like he's going to bring the army after people who disagree with him. Remember, these people have arrested Trump. They've impeached Trump. They are pending prison sentences for Trump. And now they're saying Trump's going to use the army against you. And they're projecting what they're going to do by accusing Trump. That's what John Mike Keene thinks of this. And that's what my audience thinks of this.
It's a serious issue. He is saying that he would use the military to go after them. Think about this.
These people have used the FBI to go after pro-life Christians, especially Catholics. They've used it already, broke down their doors. They have imprisoned opponents. They have imprisoned Steve Bannon. They've imprisoned Navarro for contempt of court. These people have weaponized their institutions more than Trump ever will. I hope Trump does weaponize it the way they have. I hope if he wins, he does to them exactly what they did to him. And that's what Democrats are really afraid of. They're going, holy cow, he's going to do to us what we did to him. Here's Glen Youngkin.
You heard some of the language that Mr. Trump used over the weekend. What do you think of this idea of, quote, we have some sick people, radical left lunatics, and I think it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, the National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military. Is that something that you support?
It's my belief that what former President Trump is talking about are the people that are coming over the border, that in fact are committing crimes, that are bringing drugs, that are trafficking humans.
Glen Youngkin's actually talking about the real problem of these lunatics coming over our border.
I see the impacts of 10 million people illegally coming across the border every single day.
But that's not what I'm talking about, because he was talking about sick people, radical left lunatics.
And Jake Tappert has to be in full-time defense of the Democrat Party. That's his job.
Later on in that same speech, he said that one of the lunatics he addressed was Congressman Adam Schiff. That's who he was talking about using the National Guard and military against, radical left lunatics, enemy from within.
Just remember, Democrats have for 4 years gone after their political opponents using lawfare, using judges, using the FBI, using the Department of Justice. Yes, using the army. Yes, putting people at gunpoint, using the IRS. And Jake Tappert is suddenly magically concerned about little Adam Schiff. And Glen Youngkin's just going, guy, there's a bigger problem. What's coming over the border?
People like Adam Schiff.
Again, Jake, I don't think that and again, I can't.
I'm just reading his
speak
quotes
for him, but I do think that you are misinterpreting and misrepresenting his thoughts. I do.
And now you're going to see Jake Tappert go even farther. Just repeat it more. This is CNN. This is his job.
It's all around the fact that we have had an unprecedented number of illegal immigrants come over the border in an unconstrained, unrestrained fashion. The Biden-Harris administration has allowed it to happen. Just 2 weeks ago, we, in fact, had senior people from our national security apparatus say that there's 15,000 violent felons in the United States. They have no idea where they are.
And so now look how grouchy he is. I just want to show you how grouchy Jake Tappert is. Just focus on him, on his face.
That is what I believe the president is referring to. I don't think that he's referring to elected people in America. But I'm literally
reading his quotes. I'm literally reading his quotes to you, and I played them earlier so you could hear that they were not made up by me. He's literally talking about, quote, radical left lunatics. And then one of those lunatics he mentioned was Congressman Adam Schiff.
So he's starting to get more animated. Okay. And he keeps bringing up these papers on Glen Youngkin. We're going to follow this, keep following this argument, because he starts to get more and more excited. He's almost happy that he's catching Glen Youngkin in something. He feels like he's really on to a big fact.
I'm talking about Donald Trump saying that he wants to use the National Guard and the military to go after the left. That's what he's saying.
And finally, here's peak Jake Tappert right here. Watch.
I don't believe that's what he's saying. But listen, you and I are going to.
Okay, look at this face, because we're going to bring it up later. This is when he goes, we have the paperwork of him bringing out Adam Schiff. He says this. Look how happy he is. Look at him. Little Jake Tapper is ecstatic. When he thinks the facts are going his way, he's laughing at Glen Youngkin and loving this.
Argue about that, but I would suggest if you would also.
I played the quote and I read it to you.
If you would also
you
balance
can wish that he weren't saying that, but that's what he's saying.
Okay, now let's go to MSNBC with Joe Scarborough repeating this lie that Trump is after citizens going to use the army against him.
Again, Joe, that is Glen Youngkin.
Wow.
Conventional Mitt Romney pro-business Republican.
And you ain't black.
And just twisting himself in knots to defend Donald Trump. And again,
why is Glen Youngkin twisting himself in knots? Maybe he's just finally telling the truth and untwisting the knots of lies that you guys have told.
The number in September, according to the Border Patrol, was 54,000, which represented a low going back more than 4 years.
And look at these liars defending 54,000 illegals coming here who could be terrorists, who could be doing trafficking their way. That's normal. It's okay. It's been, it's pretty low going on 4 years. Well, what made it lower 4 years ago? Oh, Trump was in office 4 years ago. So starting with Biden, you get the 55,000 coming in.
What's so fascinating is I'd say normally it's not really what Donald Trump said, except for the fact that what he's talking about is a fascist. Right out of fascist playbook where you use the military.
Yeah, or the FBI, like the CIA or KGB, which is what Russia did. That's what Joe Biden did, and you covered it up for 4 years, and you're part of that propaganda wing of militarizing against Trump. Joe Scarborough.
To go after your political opponents, I will say.
Yeah, who went after their political opponents? Where's the mug shot of Trump? Joe Scarborough. Who went after their political opponent? Who impeached him twice? Who shot him twice? Joe Scarborough.
He did try to pressure the attorney general. For everybody, all these Trump apologists right now are people who are ashamed to vote for Donald Trump but are lying about Donald Trump and saying, oh, we got through 4 years without him doing anything. Yeah, we didn't actually. And we didn't get through January 6th. And also,
actually, we did get through January 6th. There was a peaceful transfer of power. It was easy, by the way. It happened. So we've seen for 4 years that there was not an insurrection. We've seen for 4 years that Trump did not use the military against citizens. And we saw what the Democrats did do against their political opponents and against citizens who they sent the FBI after to spy on and to imprison for peacefully praying outside of clinics.
this is a guy that pressured his attorney general publicly and privately to arrest Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but the attorney general didn't do it. Both Jeff Sessions and Glenn Barr, these people have all turned against Trump. So I'm only saying if he has all this magic power, they didn't do it. So Trump does not have the magic dictatorial power. But everyone fell in line under Joe Biden, who mumbled, or Barack Obama, or whoever's running this country. Department of Justice, Jack Smith, Chutkan, Fonnie Willis, Alvin Bragg, Judge Merchan, Engoron, Letitia James, they fell into line behind whoever's in charge and went after a political opponent. That is what you're afraid of Trump doing. You already did. Your side already did.
This is a guy that publicly and privately pressured his attorney general to arrest Joe Biden 2 weeks before the 2020 election. So
Joe Biden, who's actually guilty.
You're defending somebody. Glen Youngkin is defending the use of the Army and the National Guard.
I'm not. You could use lawfare. Trump could use some judges. Let's get some corrupt Republican judges to go after his opponents like the Democrats did. I'm not picky.
3 weeks from, can I say it now? The election of our lifetime?
Yes.
The most important election of our lifetime?
Yeah, it's the most important election of our lifetime. I'm with you on that. This might be the first time I've ever agreed with Joe Scarborough. John Mike Keane and Joe Scarborough agree this is the election of our life.
It begins with someone identifying themselves as a non-citizen. And I guess I would posit back to you, do you think that non-citizens, when they've self-identified as a non-citizen, should stay on the voter roll and therefore be in a position to potentially vote in a presidential election?
Look how angry and scowling Jake Tapper is here.
I don't think any non-citizen should vote. How are they self-identifying? How does that happen?
They actually tick a box that says, I am a non-citizen.
Non-citizens are voting. Glen Youngkin came after them, and the state is trying to sue him. The Department of Justice, Biden's people are trying to sue Virginia for kicking illegals off of the ballot, for not letting them vote.
They understand the process starts with a person self-identifying as a non-citizen, and then there is a match with that person's name on the voter rolls, and they are given not just one, but up to 3 times in order to try to cure it.
Look how angry Jake Tapper is. What happened to this guy? What happened to this guy when he's trying to get Glen Youngkin to oppose Trump?
And this is why I find this to be a very, very unreal moment that is stunning, that they filed this suit 25 days before a presidential election, when in fact this has been going on in accordance with our Constitution, the federal Constitution, and state law since 2006.
And now here's the election wizard, guys. After seeing some private polls and the latest early voting data, I'm re-upping this. The state of Virginia is in play for Trump, guys. That's Trump going into deep blue territory. That's the good news. That's the conclusion. I'm John Mike Keane. Subscribe.
And you ain't black.